Humid capital will be doing Seth and Anthony at 9 o'clock in the morning. Probably every day but Travers Day. Well, my guess is will probably be 8 a.m. on Travers if I was going to project out. But and Seth will be doing double duty with Racing Across America. And on Sunday, joined by Steve Bick with Loose on the Lead. And here we are again. Happy, healthy, and safe. I'm sure the numbers will be outstanding if Mother Nature plays nicely. What do you got? $20 million worth of stakes action?
Yeah, what did I read? Yeah, 20 something. That's
70 some odd stakes. So obviously you can do the math. If there's 40 days and 70 stakes,
71 stakes, 17 grade ones, amazing. Grade one flat stakes, worth a total of 20.8 million. So yeah, it's going to be
tremendous. And opening days, not counting family, it's always been my favorite day of the year. I used to call when I was a young lad. It's like, last night was New Year's Eve. Now I spend, we'd go out all night, and we basically go home, time, take a shower, and come back. You can do that when you're 25. Last night I'm half watching a movie, working on Friday's card. And that's how things change. Even though the young man in the house can drive now, so he doesn't need the parent Uber anymore, and things are moving on in the Mormino household, but a lot quieter nowadays. My night before Travers, you used to be socially, more recently socially active on opening day.
Probably far more socially active during Saratoga than I am the rest of the year now. I used to be Friday.
Was there something last night?
No. There was a board meeting.
No, that's not
for the
us.
OTV
that's
folks.
That's way above.
So I handicapped.
What's way above my pay grade? It might not be above yours.
I handicapped for that. Hopefully I gave out some winners to the board.
I certainly hope so. You got the boss on today?
A little bit later, yeah.
It's always good to keep the bosses happy.
Coming up at 10 a.m.
Who else do you have at the
Tom Law, kind of kicking off our
Saratoga
regular
special?
Visits from the Saratoga special. Dave Grenig, hopefully kicking off. We got to firm up Dave and Mike Welch. They're usually weekly.
Two busiest guys of the summer.
Yeah, they do a great job.
Along with Seth, those three are the three busiest guys.
The workout reports, they do a great job. Kevin Cox will make a visit this morning, doing a little handicapping, and then John Signor from President Capital OTB. So I'll come up. Just also, before we go further,
yes.
Alert folks what's coming up at Capital OTB this week. The entries opened yesterday for the play of the day bankroll team. We're going to select 50 people to be on the bankroll team. Entries will stay open, I think, until Tuesday. So go to the website, click on the promotions link, and then look for the link to the play of the day. Steve Bick and Kevin Cox will give out the play of the day here on the show each and every day. $100 is wagered on the play of the day, and at the end of the meet, the bankroll team splits up the winnings.
So again, that team is set for the whole.
Yeah,
they have plenty of bullets.
So again, entries are open, and put your name in the hat to see if you can get on the team. There's stuff going on at the Clubhouse Racebook all month long, all meet long. But the July update Thursdays down at the Clubhouse, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. Stop by Prize Wheel, randomly selected folks to spin the prize wheel every Thursday. Fridays, it's a $100 trifecta.
Already, we can't get 5 minutes into the show, and we have action in and around the studio. Nothing like live television, folks.
At least we haven't had the blower yet.
No,
I was expecting
full-blown blower.
The countdown to be hours for that, but so far they've been pretty good with that. Fridays, Clubhouse Racebook $100 trifecta challenge. Don't forget Friday also the bounty bet. Fridays, each Friday, the entries will open for the Sunday show pool team. That's going to be a new team every week. Entries will open online on Fridays for that. I'm going to have a show parlay pool every Sunday.
I'll be watching.
It should be fun.
I'll be watching.
The team opens up on Fridays for that each and every week, so keep that in mind. Saturdays, Clubhouse Racebook this month to play the board contest, and Sundays, it's the double promo day, match bet and exact the board all down at the Clubhouse Racebook. As they say, lots going on. Love to have folks come up here to the track because I think it pulls people into the game, bring some family and friends up and have some fun. But if you can't make it up here, stop by your local branch or Easy Bet or certainly Clubhouse Racebook.
I will say, like I've mentioned before about the ROI, where I wouldn't change my modus operandi. I will say in the show pool, when my friends and I have been at it, when I had the last leg, I did change it because there was just so much to be won. My point is, I may have liked the 10-1 shot, but I would have subverted my natural instincts and been like, you have to make the right bet here. And I've said it many times before. The difference between being a very good handicapper and a very good bettor, if I have to choose one column, I want to be a very good bettor. I mean, betting wisely. We've talked about this before. You spend 2-3 hours with the PPs, and then you spend 5 minutes constructing your ticket. That's an imbalance that I talk about at the Breeders' Cup time often with our gang, that I'm usually done on Wednesday after they draw up post positions. And I very, very rarely have ever made changes once. And then I spend really all day Thursday constructing the tickets. Now, that's not a daily routine for me, but I'm not a horizontal guy, so my ticket writing is easy. But for all the horizontals, I was looking at races today, and we'll touch on them. This ticket writing is the talent I most want to have. I don't have it, but it's the one I most want to have. Now, you're a pick 3. That's your?
No, I'm more pick 4.
Pick 4 now.
I've been pick 4 for a while, but I like that 50-cent pick 3 because then you can back up.
Yes.
If you get like a 10-1 shot wins the first leg of your pick 4, now you can throw some long shots in on the pick 3 that maybe you didn't put in. If there's a 50-cent pick 3, that's why I keep saying I wish they would get that here. But I like.
So do you have the date and the bullseye when Pat McKenna will be your guest on Racing Across
hopefully
America?
We're gonna have Dave O'Rourke on the weekend.
Oh, shooting for the moon, huh?
So hopefully.
No way you go at him.
I think I've asked both of them in the past that they don't.
And I'm kidding because he's extremely nice.
Oh, yeah,
I met him years ago, and I was, very talented young man, and Naira's in very good hands.
Because I think on the pick 3,
because I'd be bringing up penny breakage and timing, and that'd be
penny breakage is kind of. But I mean, it's
I
not
love
just New York. It's the only place that does it is Kentucky.
Yes.
But once they did it, you would think the floodgates would open.
Well, I love when you see the odds, like you see 344. So. Any big picture thoughts, since we have no review of races?
I think one of the news stories that has kind of floated under the radar here is this kind of person enhancement for the New York breds moving into open company. I'm going to be interested to see how that plays out. But, if you look in the racing form, some of the races, you're going to see inflated purses. Part of that is going to be that supplemental for the New York breds if they step into open company. But Kentucky has kind of gone that way with the Kentucky breds and pulled some bigger stables down there who have Kentucky breds to chase some of that big money. I'm going to be interested to see how it plays out with the New York
owners usually chase money. It's a good business
if you
model.
offer it, they will come.
My one thought, big thought, as I say, we get into this, is the people I am most envious of, and if there's a side of positive envy, I know envy is a pejorative term, but anybody who scores out today for the meet is like the Mount Rushmore for me, because I'm a tiptoe into the water. I look at this, and I think we've talked about this is a 40-round heavyweight fight, and I have no idea how the track's going to play. It might play the most fair racetrack in the history of racetracks, but my thing is I kind of spar into the meet and let it get going. I saw, what is it, tomorrow we got the 1 mile dirt races. I can't call them a 1-turn one. It's not a full 2-turn one. See how that goes as we march on with jockeys making it happen. But my thought is, go at this slowly. If you could take the house down today, more power to you.
Any meet, though, I having done this now for years and years and years, I feel like almost any meet, you have to tread lightly for about the first week until you kind of get some trends. And some of the human elements, trainers and jockeys, can kind of define themselves a little bit as to how they'll be, or at least early in the meet. But the first couple of days, because you don't know how the track is going to play, and that can be working.
But I think Saratoga is different because of the outfits. I don't feel that way when they go from Aqueduct to Belmont. I feel no hiccup at all. I just really feel as if, let's go. One of the things we have here that we don't have at Belmont, 3-turn turf races, which I tend to like, and they're run dramatically differently, etc. But we got outfits in here that, wow, here you come to Saratoga. So kudos to anybody that scores out here. One of the things I always say, and I've had this since I really have done this personally, is I have a goal. Like, I have a monetary goal. And when I reach that, there's like little to no chance they're going to suck me back in. Some people might say.
So goal for the meet?
Always.
Okay.
When I was a young bachelor, it was 3 paid vacations. Now, when I was a bachelor, that mostly meant airfare and a Best Western hotel and, a national chain burger joint. So it was still a good number. I'll just say it doesn't matter now. It was $3,000 was my goal when I was a young man. It was a 24-day meet. When I got to 3,000, I was inclined to just stop. When the Breeders' Cup came around, that started being one of the vacation. Hyannisport for July 4th started being another vacation, and then a spring one, whether it's
that's different now too. We were talking yesterday when we were out there about the technology. No, the keeping track of that though. I mean, back in the day, you would have to have the yellow pad and keep what you did every day. Now with the ADWs, you can just go online, and now you can parse out where you're doing better, which I have to admit I'm bad at, but I think everybody probably should do that. Which races am I scoring on and which races
is why I'm a
not?
trifecta player.
But
I couldn't win doubles. How am I going to win pick 3s and pick 4s and pick 5s? So that's how I became a trifecta. And what I used to do was, I still kind of do it, at the top right-hand corner of the pocket program, which I still get, I would put how much money I had today. So that 3,000 counted hot dogs. And I'm a big hot dog eater, so I had to overcome my hot dog and soda, which in 1990 was $4, $1 tip. That was a jumbo dog and a soda, $4, leave the buck. So that was part of the hill I had to climb. But I would write how much cash I had, upper right.
The hot dog portion of the hill.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was good for like 3 a day. So that was like $15. I love those jumbo dogs. That's it, though.
I grab a few dogs during the meet. I like a little pizza during the meet. I'll upgrade. I'll go over.
I don't get pizza very often at the racetrack. Is it good?
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. I'll try it out. I'm usually a hot dog and soda guy almost any sporting event.
I do like the hot dogs over here, so I do that. But then upgrade and get the hamburger. I used to eat a lot of Bick's barbecue when they had the barbecue over there. That was.
I remember that over there. I guess the quick note is the inaugural play of the day. Is it a board? Is it a person? Is it Superman? What is it? We have a board. All right. So Steve Bick and Kevin Cox, they will be rotating the DePaula play of the day. And right off the bat, Steve Bick makes you hang out all day to the famous 618, race number 10. We are in the same ballpark, although that's my second place horse. Stone of Destiny, the David Donk, John Velasquez, second-time starter. That's in the finale at 1 mile and 16th. The State Breds. He mentioned something last year about an angle he had with State Breds going long on the turf. So Stone of Destiny is 9-2, as you see. Great job. That is Steve Bick's inaugural play of the day. You have to stick around to about 6:18-ish, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize, folks. It's Stone. Forget Stony. It's Stone of Destiny. Who I have underneath.
Not that Stony of Destiny wouldn't have been fun.
That'd have been a good name, too. I'd have gone for that. You ready, my friend?
I am.
I do the odds, you do the evens, all right? We on board here with this? Can we get this for 40 days?
No.
This is...
There will be. Yeah. There's no question.
You know, like when you go to the car wash and you don't put it in neutral, you put it in park, and your car starts bucking. We're going to have probably just one, as this is our 41st in a row Handicappers Report at Saratoga. Also, the TU, the battle lines are drawn. Same team for them last year. Same team for us this year, so look for that. I think I read in the TU today we won 19-13, 8 ties or such. So I think that's at a minimum a 2-year winning streak.
Yeah.
To quote Bob Dylan, I only want to be on the side that's winning. I'm 2-0. Took me a long time to get in the club, folks. All right, the opener. We've been doing this about 10 years now. A great idea, an even better idea. I think one year we did run it at 1 mile and 3/16, which is a obviously a singular distance, but it's in the middle of the grandstand. Del Mar's done this for years. We start in the dirt. We start at 9 furlongs.
Great idea.
Open company, absolutely. Fillies and mares, optional 50, non-winners one. Other than that, also, we mentioned it yesterday. I suspect we have a slightly larger crowd today. Frank Miramati kicks off his career, and we don't need to wish him any luck. He's so good at it, but welcome, Frank, to full-time Saratoga
Yeah,
duties.
looking forward to it. Frank's great, and he'll do a great
Maybe
job.
there'll be like a slow, not today, Thursday walkout race. He can give us a little change.
I'd love to have him do it, but like I say, he kind of alluded to once I get up to the A level, I'm not going to do
David O'Rourke seems like
but
not a stodgy young guy. He'd be like, Frank,
I think you're right. You
Friday
throw in,
evening,
or
give the people on the walkout race
on a Wednesday, or
all right.
We'll see.
People who know what we're talking about.
The opener today, 5, 3, 1, and 6 for me. I'm going to do Bustin Bay on top. It's Linda Rice. We'll see if she can keep this roll going, because she is on a roll. When she won Belmont on Sunday, the Belmont meet title, I think that was her 4th straight New York title, and she won it kind of comfortably over the last couple of days of the meet. She was kind of sitting there in a great spot. So she comes up here, plenty of momentum. This horse also has plenty of momentum, having won 2 of the last 3. So in good form for a trainer who's going very well. Jose Ortiz, who also comes in on a roll, having won the Belmont meet in a great battle with his brother that literally came down to the last few races. So hot team, horse in good form, Bustin Bay on top. Toned up in the second slot. Tossed in a clunker last time, but comes off the claim for Rob Atras. And when you look down the page, that last just looks like an aberration to me. I'm going to look for this horse to rebound a little bit. And you mentioned it. You mentioned up here as compared to Belmont. You mentioned the turf course and the number of turns and whatnot. I'll just reiterate. When you're looking at the past performances, it oftentimes plays well up here. If you look at how they did at Aqueduct as compared to Belmont, not just those turns on the turf races, but maybe more primarily even on the dirt. And you look down, this last race that I said was a little bit of a clunker was at Belmont. The turf, the dirt form at Aqueduct was very good. And this has more of a configuration similar to that. So maybe benefits from coming up here, toned up in the second spot. And virtual reality, 3-1 on the morning line. I'll be interested to see what the betting public does. If folks watch, they know that I like the Chad Brown Klarvich runners. I like them as win early type of runners. This one did it. The number is a little light, I think. So I'm going to be interested to see where the betting public goes, because it's such a potent team. And then I'm going to be interested to see what the horse does, because I think improvement is not out of the question. But for me, 5, 3, 1, and 6.
Yeah, I think it's clear we both have a similar type question. You have virtual reality in third. I have him in second. I don't think this is a case where the race goes through virtual reality.
No.
I think
because, as I say,
there's
the numbers
going to be many horses down the road from this combination that the race is going to go through them. The opener is not. I'm outside here, Ocean Gateway. If I am very forgiving of the Pimlico race, and clearly I am, but remember, the longer the odds, the more questions you get to ask. Javier Castellano rode this horse 2 races back, scored the victory. Now, that was in the slop, but this horse had run well enough on debut, going a mile. I am on the outside, but I think going to be able to cut out a fair enough trip going into the first turn. Remember, they start right, basically on the turn. But I think I'm going to be able to save ground with the Hall of Famer Javier Castellano, and I think it's fair to say I'm going to maintain that 6-1 area. For second, virtual reality gets the rail in here, 1 on debut. Seth mentioned not a big number. Manny Franco gets the call back, and then the 6 going out for Dallas Stewart, getting Lasix. One of my favorite angles, third start of either a career or a year. This horse I actually thought would be dangerous in here. 3-1. Dallas Stewart not sliding by. David
dropping out of a string of stakes races. Raylu into ride. I wonder how often he's going to be riding.
I'm going to be interested to see how they bet the 1 and the 6.
Yeah.
Because I think that is going to almost ensure I get a square price, 6-1 or north of that on my 7.
Yeah. Second race today, fun race. Maiden specials going 5.5 furlongs.
You buried the lead. Running for
Well, I was about to say that. Given,
136,000.
and again, 23,000 tied into the New York bred situation if they step into this open company. But yeah, yikes.
Yeah, I see purse 105,000 for non-New York bred. Wasn't it just 90 a couple years ago?
Yeah.
And that was eye-opening.
Yeah.
So I am 956. We don't share too much in common on this. Listen, I say this. I've gotten about 4 phone calls in my life, and 3 of them were right. You know, when I knew the night before and I had sent in my picks, I was dead in the water. But it's, you know, it's 1/2 a step above guessing here. I have some thoughts on the 5 and the 6, but I'm 956. So I went for a firster.
Wait, you saying you got a phone call though?
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
I tell the people when I get the phone call.
I thought you were alluding to you
No.
had the phone call.
No, I had
was
no
going to
phone
be.
call.
Well, maybe I have to throw that one.
No
Okay,
phone calls.
okay.
Too early in the meet. I didn't see. I was home watching a movie and working on Friday. But Honey Dijon just taking a flyer in here. I'm suspecting that the morning line. We'll get to that in a moment. But remember a couple of years ago, Gervin started off his career as a hot stallion. So I'm on the outside, going 5.5. Joe Sharp, Tyler Gaffleone. I'm just taking a flyer here. A horse that I think will be clearly lost in the wager. Oh, by the way, happy birthday to the youngest of my 4 older sisters.
Oh,
yes.
Happy birthday.
Yes. My brother's will be tomorrow and mine will be Sunday, but the younger, I will not mention how old she is. I will mention that I will be 60 on Sunday, and you can do the math there. But Honey Dijon, just a flyer, folks. I have nothing besides the Gervin angle. Get a price down the road. Battle of the ladies for 2nd and 3rd for me. Lady Blitz, 2nd-time starter. Pletcher, Irad. Got beat at 6-5 in the debut. I'm going to be interested to see how they go for the Irad Pletcher 4-1. I don't know. Lady Moscato is my 3rd pick. Wayne Lucas comes in with Luis Saez off of a nice debut for Wayne, although the beaten favorite down at Ellis Park. So 9, 5, 6, and you do not have the 2 in there either. That's the 1st-time starter. Is my math right? That's the morning line favorite, right?
Correct.
David Aragon has made the Norm Cassie, Mary Lou Whitney Stables, Empire Island the morning line favorite.
The Eaton Blue and Brown. We'll see it opening day at Saratoga. That's nice. But yeah, I didn't use it. And I'm interested to see how the odds do shake out. I'm taking a flyer here. This is going to be my dark horse play of the day. I listed it as the best bet in the Times Union, 20-1, Classy Mischief.
I like it.
As it is the dark horse play of the day, I'll give more on that horse
Why
in just a couple of minutes.
Schuylerville? No, we'll get to that later.
I'll give that a little more before we go to the next break as my dark horse play of the day. But I'm going to put Classy Mischief on top. 2nd slot, I'll go with Lady Moscato. 2nd-time starter. Went off as the favorite. Lukewarm 5-2 for Wayne Lucas down at Ellis. And again, I think we've all realized over the past couple of years, the 2-year-olds at Ellis in the summer can be very potent. And so this one comes off of a nice effort down there. There was a sibling called Salty As Can Be that won 2 of the first 3 starts of the career. Another sibling called Simply Salty that also won 2 of the first 3. So I think there's win early here. Luis Saez on board. 3rd spot, Sosha. The Todd Pletcher firster by Spitestown. Sibling called Double Thunder won 3 of the first 4, including the 2021 Sapling. And then, yeah, Lady Blitz did go off as the 6-5 favorite. But, boy, that 40 buyer. But had some trouble on a sloppy track. I'll be interested to see. But looking up this one's siblings, did have a nice little win early sibling in Puerto Rico. The other siblings, though, just weren't enough to attract my attention. But is dangerous as a 2nd-time starter from Pletcher, Irad Ortiz on board. But I have it down at the bottom of my mix. But as I say, I'll give a little more oomph on the number 1, Classy Mischief, in a moment at 20-1. That'll get my meat off to a good start if we get that. I have a 1, 6, 4, and 5.
And I don't know how you get through the inaugural pick 5 getting through this race. I have almost everybody live in this race based on pedigrees. On to the 3rd. We got our first turf dash. First turf race, first turf dash. Phillies and Mares in for 35, 2L, 5.5.
And again, there's the potential for some weather. I have some dirt picks over if you pick up the 1 sheet. at capitalotb.com. But on the turf, 8, 4, 6, and 10. I'm going to put Leanna B on top. I'm just looking the pace scenario. It looks like Leanna B may be the one to go out there and steal this on the front end.
We have the right jockey.
And you look, and there are a couple others that maybe contend, but I think the speed is going to be Leanna B. So I'm just looking. It has a post position towards the outside, so it can control things. We'll look for the theft there. Smoking Hot Kitty in the second spot. Claim 2 starts back. Close up second. First off the claim. The cutback is the cutback, I think, benefited the horse last time in the first off the claim, and was running in and around this kind of company. Should be a player again today. And Saratoga Gaze made that nice move that I talk about fairly often. State bred allowance into an open claim or open conditional claimer last time. Ran third. I'm going to give this one another shot again on that class move, and now switching things up a little bit. Another half step down the claiming ladder and cuts back in distance. Saratoga Gaze, I think, can be intriguing. 8, 4, 6, and 10.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that benefits is the other significant speed is, I believe, Fabulous Fanny from the rail. So they're going to have to break sharply and have their hand force. I think
she's one of those that I didn't know what to do, though, off the last number, which is such an aberration as compared to everything else on the page. But then you look back, the June 30th workout says that may be live for her. So I didn't know what to do with her.
I see the same way on top. 8, 9, 7, I think we have a very nice pace scenario. This is day one, but you might be led to think that speed on the outside, sprinting on the turf is an asset. I find it hard to believe it would be a liability, so I'm going to go with Leanna B on top. Right next door in the starting gate, Jose Ortiz, David Donk. This runner broke the maiden in the third start after a greater than 12-month layoff. Jose Ortiz retains the mount, and I like this spot. I mean, it's so reasonable. This is, I think, the next softest spot after you break your maiden, and it was for a tag. It's you go for the 2L on the grounds, and then at a big price here, Jimmy Ferraro sends out number 7, Devley, 8, 9, 7 in our first turf sprint.
All right, before we go to the break, I will give out my dark horse play of the day. Like last year, every day we'll give out a dark horse play. Looking for something with a little value, as the name might indicate, but the name is also tied into our friends down at the Dark Horse Mercantile down on Broadway in Saratoga, Mary Ann Barker and Maddie Zanatti, who we'll have on the show sometime as sponsors. Appreciate their sponsorship, but also tout you, as I always do. Swing by. You will not regret taking a walk through the Dark Horse Mercantile down on Broadway, and then their sister store down the street, Impressions of Saratoga. You'll just love kind of walking through and browsing, but I'm sure you'll find something of interest down there. Last year, Dark Horse Play of the Day played out with a positive ROI, and the win, the place in the show category, and across the board. We'll see if we can make it happen this year. And this will certainly get us off to a good start if it plays. Again, I'm going back to the second race where I mentioned Clashing Mischief. I'll give you a little more info here. First of all, Gary Contessa is not known to win early, and he actually said that. I had him on the set with me, a few years back, and he said, I typically don't have my horses cranked up in the first start, get out and get an education. That said, since that visit with me, Gary retired from training briefly, got back into the game, was down at Delaware last couple of years maybe, but now comes up to Saratoga with the string. And I wonder, maybe he doesn't like to have him cranked up, but I would think he would probably like to, with a string at Saratoga on the return, I think he'd probably like to get off to a nice little start. And this one by Into Mischief has the correct sire to have a win early type, but also has some siblings that were pretty good on that aspect. Tale of 63, a sibling, went 6th in debut, but won the second start for the same owner and trainer. Another sibling called 63 Caliber, 6th, and then won in the second start. Gunmetal Gray won in the second career start. The sibling called Tale of 2 won the career debut. So I thought there was a lot of win early here. Javier Castellano jumps on board, who again is on that career resurgence, given what we've seen at the Triple Crown this year and beyond. I think the horse is really interesting as a win early candidate in a race where when I looked for those kind of stats, there was nobody else who was totally jumping off the page. This horse at 20-1, very interesting. So again, dark horse play of the day on this Thursday opening day. Race number 2, horse number 1, Classy Mischief.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, kicking off a 50-cent pick 4.
For 4 generations and looking forward to a 5th, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued their 99-year tradition of delighting their faithful following with the finest authentic Italian recipes made with the freshest ingredients. Some things have changed in the last 99 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now. Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Seth, Merrow, and Anthony Mormino going over day 1, opening day card. Let's get back to it with race number 4. Optional claimer with the C condition, scheduled to go 8.5 furlongs on the turf.
5-1-2 here. Chad Brown sets out the 5 for the first start since the opening day winter spring meet. That's December 26th. The American Oaks, the grade 1 for 3-year-olds. Beaten favorite there, took time off. I guess this runner couldn't run in the Diana. No, only kidding is if you haven't seen the entries for the Diana. But Flavian Prat gets the mount for second. I only took one part of the entry. I don't know. Seth has it on top. Did you take both parts of the entry, or did you want the one in particular?
Because I prefer the plain one.
Okay,
but I'm using both.
Okay, and I have Sister O'Toole, who breaks from the hedge, making the seasonal debut for Graham Motion. 5-1-2.
I went the one entry 5, 6, and 2, and yeah, as I say, Tennessee on top for me. Christophe Clement runner, and again they have different jocks names, so hope both of them go. Hope I don't get stuck with the 1A, who isn't bad. And sometimes I'll parse out, but I thought this is one of those where if the plain one does scratch, maybe I trust the trainer.
I think the 1A was the horse using the C connection there, which is non-winners of a race in 23. If you go through and you parse it out, I don't do it very often, but I usually do it when I see the C for the allowance.
Yeah,
and that's
again, I would stick, but the preferred is the plain one, who comes in, I think, in good form in the first 3 starts of the year. Christophe Clement, I would expect to have another good meet. Salama for Chad Brown might wind up being the one to beat, owned by Stephanie Seymour Brandt, trained by Chad Brown. Hasn't been seen since trying Stakes Company last fall. I wouldn't be surprised to see this horse lightly raced and with these connections to come back improve.
8-5, higher or lower?
Lower. I'm going. Yeah,
okay.
I'm going.
I think at the entry stage, you might get a better price.
It is questionable.
You might actually get a better
price.
But
I just think Chad Brown up here is going to take a lot of action. California Queen in the 3rd spot. It becomes the other Chad Brown runner in here. And if those two get separated, could be a little bit interesting from that aspect. In the 4th, the 1 entry, 5, 6, and 2.
5th race on the card. We get back to the dirt and 9 furlongs. Claimers in for 20.
6, 4, 2, and 9. I'm going to put Portos on top. This is one where I have real question marks, because this horse, you look down the page and you think, this horse just seems to have a real class edge on this bunch. But that's because the last couple of races was in Stakes Company. There's stakes further down the page, and now goes for a $20,000 tag, which to me is kind of a precipitous drop. So again, it's and I would have been a little more leery, but the horse attracted Irod Ortiz, who I think is aiming for winners up here, certainly on opening day. So we'll see. And some of these drop situations that the other times of the year would be a little more concerning. I often think, folks want to win up at Saratoga, so it may not be the same situation. I'll go there, but with a lot of question marks. Second spot, Ollie, my boy. This horse off the last effort, which a 5th place finish, maybe a little bit questionable. But I noted Phil Bauer. If you weren't paying attention last summer at the beginning of the meet, he went 6 for 11 to start things at Saratoga last year. So we'll see if he can do something similar up here. So I'll put Ollie, my boy, in the mix, and then Dust Devil in the 3rd spot. Off the claim, ran well against a little bit better, drops down a little bit below the claim level. So I think financially things would still work out. I think this one on a drop is a little more palatable, given that they got some money in the first start off. For me, in the 5th, 6, 4, 2, and 9.
I made an opening day rookie mistake. I mean, these are the numbers, but by the way, I think in handicap, I should have put the 9 on top. Ollie, my boy, and Portis, I think, are the 2 choices in this race for horizontal players. But for a vertical player like me, 235, I think is very close to the top 2 and going to be a much higher price. And as you said, trusting Ollie, my boy, and Portis, you're like, maybe Tom Morley doesn't want to go day 2 on the duck. I do think that trainers think about that at Saratoga because it's talked about. But 235 with my traditional handicapping acumen should have been where I went, but it's 4, 6, 9 in here.
So does that mean later today you'll go heavy on 235, or down the stretch you'll be going, no, not 235. You'll be rooting against, because that would be a killer. I've had that happen too, where on the second look you're like, I should have gone here, and then if that one wins, you
a long time ago. Matter of fact, when I was working with Roger Wallen at 13, I kind of made what I thought was almost a moral decision for myself, and that was I could never go against my public. I never bet against what I had told the people. I felt that even I'd be the only one that would know that I won and they lost. So if one of my horses got scratched, I thought all bets were off. I had the right to go, but I could never I cannot go out now and bet the 9. I can't. I won't do it. I mean, there's enough chances to win money. I don't want to win and be like, no, you like the 4, 6. I won't get caught in that trap.
Well, and that's a good opportunity to talk the basic difference between you and I on making selections. And we've talked about it before, the number of wins as opposed to the ROI. When I handicap, I'm trying to say who I think is going to win the race, not necessarily who I think is going to bet. You're more who you're going to bet, which I think is perfectly valid. And I think if you look out at public handicappers, plenty do it your way and others do it my way. And it's just so long as people know what they're looking at, I think it's all valid. But I've
always made it clear that I'm chasing the money. I will say this as a non-scientific thing. I cannot tell you how many people between Labor Day last year and today congratulated me on winning in the paper.
Oh.
And now once again, they're speaking to me. But I don't think a single one of those people were looking at the hyphens. I think they were all looking at dollars. I think that's how a run of the person would be like money. And every single person said I wanted to be like, well, that depends. I agree with you. I said, but the environment I'm in thinks that the hyphen is more important than the dollar symbol. But every single person was like, you won. I'm like, well, most people think I didn't win. Like most people say picking.
Like I said, I think they're both valid and they're both, right. And so long as people know what they're looking at.
Right. But I would not bet anything. I wouldn't do that. I just decided a long time ago I would.
So you do have to kind of root against a little bit coming down because that would be a killer.
Yes, I don't want the 9 to win. That part I agree with.
6th race today, state bred optional claimer, non-winners of 2, scheduled on the grass, 5.5 furlongs.
6-2-4. Intriguing race in here. Not an easy race. Intriguing. 10 and out MTO. Yarrow is the Saratoga horse that I went for with Christophe Clement. We're adding blinkers. Third start of the year. And this is classic. And it's not as often classic on turf as dirt, where you have the good effort, Beyer speed figure off the bench, a little regression, Beyer speed figure, and now you move forward. Running with scissors, David Jacobson, who I'll have my eyes on this meet as he has got his sea legs back. Irad Ortiz in the saddle, and Rough Draft making the fourth career start. Two very sharp efforts this year. 6-2-4.
1, 2, 4, 6 for me. I'm going to put Foolish Ghost on top.
Oh.
I'm intrigued to see if we get the 10 to 1
Stepping out
here
on opening day.
But I'm this is one the earlier
20 to 1,
the,
10 to
well,
1.
The earlier price was I think valid. This one I'm not sure. This horse comes in good form. Now it's good form on dirt. That's going to be the big question mark. This horse has one turf start, not shown on the page, didn't hit the board. But I do think this horse, if takes to the turf, is going to be very interesting and competitive in here. But also what attracted me, has a string of apprentice jocks having ridden recently, and gets Javier Castellano today. So we'll take a little pop with Foolish Ghost. Second slot, Running with Scissors. This one, the last few starts have been pretty good. A couple of wins leading into a fourth place finish last time. But overall, those races stack up very well with this bunch. And Rough Draft, being lightly raced, comes in couple of wins and a second place finish, but being lightly raced, maybe with a little blue sky, a little upside still to come. And if we get to that, this horse fits squarely in the mix. Sixth at Saratoga, 1, 2, 4, and 6.
Take a quick break. When we come back, the final pick 4.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Birdstone is an outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes. In front, but here comes High Chaparral. High Chaparral, the defending champ, to take it to Falba. These two arch rivals head to head with Joe Hart bearing down on them. It's going to be a 3-horse photo finish to the turn. Here's the wire. Photo finish.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Handicappers Report up to race number 7, kicking off the pick 4. Starter allowance, fillies and mares, right outside our front window, 7/8.
10, 9, 5, and 1 for me. I'm going to put Abrigada on top. Just comes in good form. 3 wins and 4 starts, claimed out of the last start, and moves into the barn of Linda Rice. For owner, Linda Rice. So I think there's all kinds of check marks positively for Abrigada. Condiment Girl in the second slot comes off the claim for yet another good off the claim trainer, Robertina Diodoro. Comes in from Ellis Park off a win. So really similar to the top pick, in good form, moves into the barn off the claim for a good off the claim trainer. And Sa Foradata in the third spot. This one going out for Rick Dutrow. Been facing similar company over the past few. These are the kind, though, you get a little on the win end, because this horse, when they start stringing together 4 straight second place finishes, you wonder if there isn't a little don't want to go by in this horse. So we'll see this afternoon.
I read I'll 10 to that.
Yeah, we shall see. I have it 10, 9, 5, and 1.
5, 9, 8 for me. I think we're going to get. I think the 5 is going to get bet here. I just, Rick Dutrow, Irad. I just think we're getting all the worst of it as I thought about this second start since January, and then I have the 9, 8 underneath. I thought one of the more perplexing races of the day. My problem was,
as you
Seth,
said that,
the outside horses were too outside for me.
When you first said that, I thought 4 to 1, but Irad is gonna that'll be throughout the entire. It's just fact of life. He'll attract attention.
Something we tried to bring to light last year, with the, it's not his fault.
Yeah.
So one more before the break.
8th race this afternoon, starter allowance scheduled going a mile on the grass.
And as per usual, the rails will be up on both circuits. To me, it's mostly been they keep the rails up on the Mellon turf course or the outer right up until Travers week, and the inner they'll drop them at some point. 624, Unleash the Power. Al Stoll, I think, gets off the duck here with Luis Saez coming in from Kentucky Downs, and obviously for a long time Churchill Downs. I think preps very well here. For a second, Born a Gambler, Mike Maker's horse could be very dangerous in here. Draws a good inside post position with the hedge, with the rails up in My Sea Cottage for Mark Cassie. 624.
I'm 6'4", 12-2. Unleash the Power for me also. And you mentioned coming in from Churchill. Always fun at the start of the meet to kind of see in the first week or so if other venues are being productive here. Obviously, a lot of horses are coming up from Belmont and Aqueduct, and they'll play. But horses that are coming in from Churchill and Ellis and maybe some other venues, sometimes they can prove themselves to be interesting to watch in the first week or so. Unleash the Power on top. My Sea Cottage with plenty of early speed. May try to steal it for Mark Cassie. And Chelino, I would have put this horse further up in the mix. Trying the turf here. But it's Linda Rice, it's Jose Ortiz, and I think it's a horse with some talent, particularly relative to this bunch. But I think being stuck outside at a mile distance is going to be a little bit of a drawback for that one. So for me, 6'4", 12.
I have to look at this. I thought 10 was the maximum field size going a mile on the turf, especially with the rails up, but it's 12. Wow. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, the traditional opening day feature.
For 4 generations and looking forward to a 5th, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued their 99-year tradition of delighting their faithful following with the finest authentic Italian recipes made with the freshest ingredients. Some things have changed in the last 99 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
The only thing better than watching the races is watching your own racehorse. With nearly 20 years experience in the racing industry, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program enables everyday fans to become part owner of a thoroughbred for far less than you might think, with all the ownership perks at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, and other great tracks. Experience the thrill and lifestyle of owning your own thoroughbred racehorse. Learn more at bonaventurestables.com.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Handicappers Report alongside Seth Merrow. I am Anthony Mormino. Please stay tuned. At the top of the hour, Seth will have Racing Across America. And I always thought of all the perks that come with being a mayor of a small town, being the mayor of Schuylerville, you receive the best one. And that is on opening day at Saratoga, you get to hand out the trophy. Of course, the year that they dropped the Schuylerville and ran the Adirondack, what was that, about 15 years ago, 18 years ago, that was schnooks. But imagine this is your day. A beautiful town. My father-in-law from that part of Washington County, I believe. But today you get to come out at the most prestigious meet perhaps in the whole world, and you're on center stage day one.
Amsterdam, the mayor of Amsterdam, my old burg. And I used to work with the mayor of Albany, and I get to see Kathy every year when she comes up to present the trophy.
It's got to be a great, it's on the calendar. You almost be like chasing the job for that. And I don't know if it's a 2-year of what I think there's some things I can do with the Department of Public Works. But what I'm really interested in is opening day, getting the box and handing out the trophy. That to me is the salary. That's the whole salary. Field of 11 in here, which is great to see. We touched on it yesterday and a little bit earlier. I don't know why Gary Contessa is running this one instead of the Into Mischief into here, but there's been, counting the year we only ran the 2, which I think was 05. I know Fleet Alex won the Hopeful the year we had only 2. There's been a 2-year-old filly stakes race on opening day, my whole life. I think you have to go back to like 71 when Number to Count won the test. I think that was opening day, and the Schuylerville was the next day. But it's here. We'll see if who moves forward. Haven't been too many move forward in a big way.
Well, and
I think Folklore, who actually won the Adirondack, it was the same year, I think.
I was about to say,
it's just
2-year-olds compared to when we first jumped into the game, it's a different scenario now. So you get to these 2-year-old stakes races up at Saratoga, and you're looking at maiden breakers essentially,
debut runners.
Yeah, and so for me, 7, 5, 6, and 1, I'm kind of master of the obvious with Wine on Tap, but it's Todd Pletcher, it's Irod Ortiz, and a horse that fired a good number in the debut win. But given that they're so lightly raced, any of these can kind of jump up, and a lot of times the biggest improvement a horse makes is from start 1 to start 2. So Saratoga Secret, I think, is eligible for Wayne Lucas off the debut win down at Ellis. Closing Act, Experience Counts, in the Steve Asmussen runner, 2 for 2, including a stakes win already. Carmelina, interesting for Butch Reed, coming up from the win at Parks. Fun race. We'll see how it plays out. I have it 7, 5, 6, and 1.
And Closing Act got no love from David Aragon. 10-1. The Astoria winner would usually be 7-2.
And again, the numbers, people focus so much on the numbers. I think he's probably right. The numbers are light, but I couldn't get by. It's Asmussen and the experience.
And David's so sharp.
Yeah.
I mean, we are very much benefited by him making the morning line. Now, here's my thought with Wine on Tap. Talked often about the debut, good, solid effort, then a slight regression, race 2, you go forward. If Wine on Tap takes a step back, I think it brings in almost the whole field.
Yeah.
And so for me, you see 11-4-7, and in the Times Union today, Sugar Treat is my best bet of the day. I think I love that debut race. One of the things that I like is very often with maiden races, with the juveniles early in the year, you speed pop the field, you control the pace, you usually get a breather on the turn, and then you score out going forward. And, maybe you'll have that talent the rest of ever, but Sugar Treat got some type of education down on the Tapeta at Gulfstream Park. I don't know that I have to improve that much. I'm on the outside. I get Flavian Prat. It's interesting race today. And I'm going to go that direction. I have Status Seeker for second, who for a brief moment I had on top thinking, but the 48 to me was it's going to have to dramatically improve for Rudy. And then Wine on Tap, who I think even with the regression is still part of the mix. But I think I think on balance, it's a tougher race than the speed figure for Wine on Top would separate
and you made
herself from them.
You made a great handicapping point, because every year when we're up here, I think we get people who are new to the game who watch us, and it's worth kind of tossing out, some of the axioms and whatnot to keep your eyes on. And you're right. A 2-year-old who can kind of sit a little bit off the pace and get it done.
I like the race.
Short distances is definitely something that makes the horse stand out a little bit, because you're right. Most of them are out of the gate and take them all the way. 10th and final today, scheduled to go off about 6:15 this evening. State bred maiden claimers going to Milan 16th on the grass.
10-4-7 for me. Here we go again. First start since November, changes barn. For second, Stone of Destiny, I tipped this off. This is Steve Bix. DePaula play of the day, making the second career start. Debuted maiden special weights, now comes in for a tag. I think it'd be fortuitous to receive 9-2. And then the 7 for Jorge Abreu and Flavian Prat. 10-4-7 in the finale.
7, 2, 4, and 11 for me, but I do have the 10 just missed my mix.
All right.
And scares me quite a bit. But I put number 7 on top, comes in off a couple of starts against maiden specials and drops in for a tag. Charisse, the same class move. And Stone of Destiny, always rooting for Dave Donk, and that this one had some trouble in debut. I think this horse very, very intriguing this afternoon. But I did work. I did look, and there's no workout since that last race, and that concerned me a little bit on that one. So I didn't put it higher up. I have it 7-2, 4, and 11.
Remember, folks, it's a 40-round heavyweight fight that we are very grateful to be a participant in. He stays, I go. Who do you have up next? Well, I can tell who's up first. He's
in the green room.
He's in the green room.
In the Saratoga Special. A little bit after that, Dave Grenig from the Racing Forum. Kevin Cox will stop by and give some thoughts on this afternoon's card. And then our Capital OTB president, John Sigmar, will stop by and kick off the season from the OTB side.
Prime-time players on day one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your open today. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.
You've been watching the Handicappers Report. The Handicappers Report has been brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. The new Capital OTB wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with the new Capital OTB wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.